Welcome to this explainer. For all you undergraduate scholars and curious minds joining us today, I want you to prepare yourselves for a deep dive into something you likely interact with every single week, probably without giving it a second thought. We're going to explore the hidden molecular revolution happening right inside your washing machine. We are looking at the exact intersection of the global detergent industry and cutting-edge biotechnology. It is a wildly fascinating story of how humanity evolved from boiling animal fats over an open fire to deploying highly engineered lab-grown biological agents, all just to get a stubborn coffee stain out of a shirt. Here's our roadmap for today's analysis. We'll start with the evolution of cleaning, move into the biotech revolution, examine exactly how enzymes target stains, break down the fermentation process, compare chemical versus biological methods, and wrap up with a look at a sustainable future.
Okay, let's dive into this. Part 1. The evolution of cleaning.
To understand where we are, we have to look at how drastically our cleaning methods have shifted over the centuries. Before the 1900s, ancient civilizations like the Egyptians and the Romans relied entirely on saponification. This is basically a chemical reaction that cleaves ester bonds by mixing alkaline ash with animal fat to create a basic soap. Now it worked, but it had some really severe limitations. See, in hard water, calcium and magnesium ions bind right to the soap. So instead of a rich lather, you get this insoluble, gross soap scum. Fast forward a bit to the period between 1900 and 1940. World War I hits, and we see severe shortages of natural fats. Combined with that ongoing hard water problem, scientists were absolutely forced to innovate. And this birthed the first synthetic detergents, specifically alkyl sulfates. Then, we hit the post-war expansion from 1940 to 1970, which was basically the Wild West of petrochemicals. We started pumping detergents absolutely full of harsh chemical builders, like phosphates and artificial optical brighteners. Did they clean well? Oh, incredibly well. But as we moved into the late 20th century, we realized we had engineered a massive environmental disaster. That massive influx of phosphates into our waterways triggered severe eutrophication. We're talking massive algal blooms that literally suffocated aquatic life by depleting the oxygen, turning our rivers into toxic, foamy messes.
Which brings us to Part 2, the biotechnology cleaning revolution.
By the 1970s, humanity was hitting a breaking point. Those industrial chemical solutions were actively destroying the very environment we lived in. A transition wasn't just, preferable, it was an absolute urgent scientific necessity. We had to find a way to clean our clothes without poisoning our water. So I want you to consider this critical question. What exactly replaced those harsh, toxic petrochemicals? How do we maintain modern hygiene effectively at a massive global scale without polluting our rivers and oceans? Well, the answer wasn't a new synthetic chemical. The answer was biology.
The ultimate solution came in the form of enzymes. Now, in a strict academic context, enzymes are biological catalysts. They are highly specific proteins produced by living organisms that accelerate chemical reactions. They act as highly efficient biological catalysts, drastically lowering the activation energy required to break down organic contaminants. In the detergent industry, they function as incredibly efficient surface-activating agents. Now, unlike harsh chemicals that require boiling hot water to become reactive, these biological catalysts actually evolved to operate efficiently at low ambient temperatures. Because they follow a very precise lock and key mechanism, they break down specific organic contaminants incredibly fast. And the best part? Because they are made of natural proteins, they are completely 100% biodegradable. They go right into the water system and safely dissolve back into basic, harmless amino acids.
All right, let's look closer. Part 3. How enzymes actually destroy stains. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the incredible specialization of these agents when you zoom down to the micro level. We don't just use one generic catch-all cleaner anymore. We deploy a highly targeted arsenal. Think of each enzyme as a highly specific pair of molecular scissors, custom engineered to cut a very specific organic bond. Proteases hunt down proteins. Amylases specifically dismantle starches. Lipases target fats and oils. Cellulases actually work on the cellulose fibers of the fabric itself to remove microfuzz and keep those colors looking bright. And pectinases? They're deployed specifically to break down the sticky pectin polymers that you'd find in fruit and juice stains.
Let's take protease, for example, which is arguably the absolute heavy lifter of the biodetergent world. Think about a stubborn blood or egg stain. These are incredibly complex, tightly folded protein structures that aggressively bind themselves to fabric fibers. Historically, to get those out, you'd need extreme heat and harsh bleach just to denature and destroy them, which, unfortunately, simultaneously ruins the fabric. But protease enzymes, like subtilisin derived from the bacillus bacteria, they act like microscopic lockpicks. They identify the exact peptide bonds holding that blood or egg protein together and literally dismantle the structural integrity of the molecule. They catalyze the process called hydrolysis, chopping that massive, insoluble protein chain into tiny water-soluble amino acids and short peptides that simply wash away harmlessly in your standard rinse cycle. It's brilliant.
And then we have lipase. Look, anyone who has dropped a slice of greasy pizza on a clean shirt knows just how impossible lipid structures are to remove with water alone. This is all due to the highly hydrophobic nature of lipids. Oil and water inherently repel each other. But lipase fundamentally changes how we approach oil removal.
Instead of relying on boiling hot water to literally melt the fat into submission, lipase actively targets and attacks the ester bonds within triglycerides, which is the core structural backbone of fats and oils. It breaks these bulky, water-hating lipid molecules down into much simpler, smaller fatty acids and glycerol. These smaller components are vastly less hydrophobic, meaning they can be easily encapsulated and lifted right off the fabric by standard soap molecules. It's a highly precise chemical dismantling process that entirely bypasses the need for extreme heat.
Moving on to part 4, fermentation and enzyme production. Okay, so we know these biological agents are amazingly effective at the microscopic level, right? But how do we produce them for billions of households globally? Well, that requires a highly sophisticated manufacturing pipeline. It's a rigorous 4-step process. First, microbiologists act as casting directors, selecting the perfect microbial hosts, usually specific, highly robust strains of bacteria like bacillus or fungi like aspergillus. Second, we transition them into massive commercial fermentation environments so they can multiply. Third, we apply genetic engineering to optimize their metabolic output. And finally, in downstream processing, the raw broth is filtered, purified, and those delicate enzymes are stabilized so they remain active even while sitting on a hot supermarket shelf for months at a time. Now, that fermentation process is truly the beating heart of industrial biotech. We primarily rely on 2 distinct methods here: submerged fermentation, or SMF, and solid-state fermentation, or SSF. In submerged fermentation, microbes are cultivated in massive, multi-story liquid broth tanks known as bioreactors. Inside these colossal vats, parameters like dissolved oxygen, shear stress, temperature, and nutrient pH are strictly, continuously controlled. This liquid method is incredibly efficient for cultivating bacteria. Solid-state fermentation, on the other hand, grows microbes, often filamentous fungi, on solid substrates like bran or agricultural waste, entirely in the absence of free-flowing water. But both of these methods provide the perfect, highly controlled environment for these microbes to act as living, microscopic factories, pumping out massive, commercial-scale amounts of the exact enzymes required for global distribution.
But here's the catch. Natural enzymes aren't always tough enough to survive the harsh chemical cocktail inside a bottle of concentrated laundry detergent. That is where advanced enzyme engineering comes into play. Through highly targeted genetic engineering techniques like directed evolution and site-directed mutagenesis, scientists are actually rewriting the DNA of these microbes. We artificially upgrade natural enzymes to vastly improve their thermostability, ensuring they don't denature or just break apart in warmer wash water. We also engineer their pH stability, making sure they maintain their complex 3D structure even in the highly alkaline environment of soapy water. We even utilize a really clever technique called enzyme immobilization, where the engineered enzymes are physically locked onto structural supports to vastly increase their structural integrity and operational reusability.
Let's compare the 2 paradigms. Part 5, chemical versus biological detergents. When you bring all of this together, the true environmental stakes become remarkably clear. Just look at the staggering drop in temperature requirements here. Traditional chemical detergents strictly require water heated between 60 to 90 degrees Celsius just to be chemically effective. Heating that sheer volume of water globally requires a massive continuous draw on our energy grids. Conversely, biotech detergents, relying on that precise enzyme-specific action we just discussed, operate flawlessly between 20 and 40 degrees. That single shift represents a staggering reduction in global carbon emissions and household energy consumption. Furthermore, comparing the 2 side by side, we shift completely from high pollution and low biodegradability to a highly eco-friendly, highly biodegradable model that also happens to cause significantly less chemical and thermal damage to your clothing fibers. It's an undeniable win for the consumer, a massive win for the power grid, and a crucial win for our aquatic ecosystems.
Finally, part 6, the future of sustainable cleaning.
Having solved the eutrophication crisis of the 1970s and drastically lowered household energy use today, you might think the work is done. But science doesn't stop. The horizon of industrial biotechnology is incredibly exciting. We are moving right now toward genetically engineered super enzymes that possess multi-domain capabilities, meaning they can target multi-layered, complex stains all at the same time. We're also seeing the advent of nano-biodetergents, where nanotechnology is leveraged to deliver these delicate enzymes much deeper into tight synthetic fabric structures than ever before. But most excitingly, we are now utilizing AI-designed enzyme systems. Advanced artificial intelligence algorithms are actually accurately predicting 3D complex protein folding from basic amino acid sequences. This helps us custom design entirely novel enzymes that literally do not exist anywhere in nature, perfectly optimized for extreme stain removal. All of this innovation is pushing us rapidly toward a truly zero-waste detergent production loop. I want to leave you with this final thought: cleaning through science and a secure future through cleaning. What we've explored today is that doing your laundry isn't just a mundane weekend household chore. It is literally the front line of applied biotechnology. Every single time you run a cold wash using a modern enzyme-based detergent, you are actively participating in a highly engineered, globally significant scientific achievement that saves energy, protects our rivers, and pushes humanity toward a truly sustainable future. But it leaves us with a rather profound question. If we can engineer a single microscopic protein to radically revolutionize global energy consumption right in our laundry rooms, what other planetary crises are just waiting for the exact right biological unlock? Keep questioning the everyday science around you, and thank you for joining this explainer.